Hello everyone, my name is Audrey. Thank you for stopping by. In today's video, I am participating in an April Showers Bring Mayflowers challenge hosted by Simply Becky DIY and Leah from Junker Necker DIY. So for my first project, I have these tulip florals from Walmart and a Grapevine Wreath from Walmart as well. And I use 7 of these floral bunches from Walmart. Depending on how full you like your Grapevine wreaths will depend upon how many floral bunches you use. I do also put a bow in here, and which takes up some room, but if you choose not to put a bow in here, you'll definitely want to do at least one additional bunch. So I start by clipping all of the floral pieces separately, and I do tend to try to leave mine a little bit longer because I do not use hot glue on here. I like to be able to move the flowers around here and there, and sometimes at the end, if I feel like I have issues with some floral staying, then I'll go ahead and add some hot glue, but I typically don't because I do leave my stem so long. You do have to be mindful though that those stems are not poking out through the backs or the sides. If so, you'll need to either reposition your flowers or you'll have to trim off some of the ends. There's really no rhyme or reason how I was doing this. As you see, I just had to remove that one pick because it was sticking out at the bottom. So sometimes if you just curve the stem a little bit, it's better. And I apologize for all the shaking of the camera. I was not aware that it was doing that, so please forgive me. But I do just go through and start with my tulips when there's like 2 in a bunch, and then once I've got those around, I go back in with these little lavender portions of the stems and I add those. And then once I've added those all around, then there was another little bunch of tulips that had these the lavender on them as well. So there's really 3 different types of bunches on each of the bushels. So I just cut them and separated them. And here I am going to make a bow. I measure out an 8-inch. Nope, I was going to do 8-inch and then I went back and measured out 10 inches, but I do end up trimming some of it off in the end, so I would say definitely go with the 8-inch tails. And then here I'm doing just 6-inch loops. Now I really like this 2.5-inch wired ribbon. I'd actually got this from Michael a couple years ago, and it was like a big roll of, I think it was like 50 yards. It was the only one they had, and it was for $5. And it was really odd because it does not have the normal packaging on the spool like you normally see on Michael's ribbons. So I don't know, maybe it was one of those little happy finds that, you know, just a coincidence type deal. Anyways, I wanted to use it on this particular wreath because I wanted this wreath to be a little rustic, and I thought that with the grapevine and this ribbon, it really kind of made it a little bit of rustic. Now I did just go with one 2.5-inch ribbon, and I just made several loops, and I'm pausing here because I'm really trying to think. When I make bows, I don't really have it in mind. I just kind of go with the flow. And so here I was trying to figure out if I needed to do more loops or what. But I want to say I did about 5 or 6 loops on each side. And what I wanted to do on this one, which I normally don't do very often, is wrap the bow in zip ties. I didn't have a long one, so I took two smaller ones and added them together. And then I made sure to zip tie my chenille stem along with the bow so I could use it to attach to my wreath. Now here I'm trying to get the chenille stem to go in between some of the branches, but I was kind of struggling, so I just decided not to do that, and I just wrapped it completely around the whole portion of the wreath. And because it's grapevine, it will stay in place. You don't have to worry about the bow moving back and forth, because I tied it pretty tight, and yeah, it's really gonna stick there. So here I am just fluffing out my bow, and then once I get done fluffing, I do rearrange some of the flowers, and this is one of the reasons I don't like to add the hot glue, is because while I'm putting them on, something might come up, and for some reason I'll have to change it and get I'll have to move some of the flowers around. So here I have my last bushel, which this makes the 7th bushel for me, and it's because you could see on the top of the bow, or to the left side of the bow, that there's a pretty big gap. And then I do want to cut down some of the flowers and the greenery so I can add them in with my bow as well. Excuse me. I'm sorry, my allergies have really been bothering me this week, so I apologize for that. And so again, it really depends on how full you want your wreath, is how much flowers you'll use. I like to have mine pretty full. Now, I will say the one thing with these tulips is just the long green leaves. Some of them were just kind of going all over the place and wasn't really trying to work with me. So I don't show it, but I do kind of struggle a little later trying to get some of the green leaves to go a little bit look a little better. But as you see, I do go back and cut the tails of my ribbon, my bow, because it was a little too long. Anyways, yeah, so I apologize for all the shaking. I didn't realize my table was that close to my tripod. Anyways, here is the final look of the wreath, and I absolutely love it. Purple is such a beautiful color. Now on to my second wreath. Here I'm taking one chenille stem and sticking it in the inner two rings, and here I'm sticking two chenille stems on the outer two rings. So each section between the crossbars has 3 chenille stems in it. Sorry, I was actually showing it a lot better with the first section, but I guess I wasn't recording that, and I somehow got off recording, so pardon me. This was a day for me. So I got this beautiful Deco Mesh from Craft Outlet, and I'm cutting it into 30 inches. Now, I should have cut it into, I want to say 40 inches, in order for me to use up the 2 whole rows of the Deco Mesh. But I'll save the extras for something else. Anyways, I'm doing this Cruffle Method, and I'm just adding one to each nail stem. So you'll need 18 Cruffles. So I'm kind of showing you where certain parts may stick out on one end of the Deco Mesh bundle versus the other, and you just got to kind of pull them, pull it out to make it even. So see here, I'm the one on the purple side was up a little bit more, and I pulled it on the pink side. That way you don't have parts of your Deco Mesh sticking up higher than others. Now I cut all my tails at 14 inches except this. This is something different I'm doing. I made a 4-inch loop and then about a 5 or 6 inch tail. But you'll see that I'll go ahead and cut that down. And this is, I'm trying this a little bit different here, where I take the 2 ribbon tails and I crisscrossed them, but I still folded them in the middle, and it just made it come out a whole lot better rather than piling them right on top of each other and then trying to fluff them out at the end. This worked a lot better. So I took that 1.5 inch yellow, and I put the loop in the top and attached it, and then here I just curled out the one tail on it. And I don't do it here, but I go back later and end up cutting about 1 inch off of each one of them because they were just a little bit too long. So I do want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching this video. Please go into the description box. That would be where I'll have the playlist linked, and be sure to watch everybody else's wonderful floral projects. I want to thank you for stopping by and taking time to spend time with me. So as you see my sign, it says April showers bring May flowers, and when I heard about this challenge, I thought this was the perfect wreath for me to make. So it just went so well. But I went ahead and I attached some snail stems on the back of my sign, and I'm just trying to attach it to the wreath frame. So again, I'm just going to make a bow. This time I'm going to use the 3 different ribbons, and the process is still the same, but I'll let you watch how I make the bow. It's pretty much the same as the last one with the rustic grapevine wreath, just with different number of ribbons. So oh, and if you guys are wondering, all 3 of the ribbons, the 2.5 inch, and then the 1.5 inch yellow plaid, they all came from Craft Outlet. The sign and the Deco Mesh all came from Craft Outlet. And if you've been watching me make wreaths for a while, then you know I love to get my wreathing supplies from Craft Outlet because they just have really good quality mesh and ribbon. This Deco Mesh that I used, it was a metallic mesh, and it actually did not fray at all. And that's pretty much the quality that I get from Craft Outlet, is they don't, the Deco Mesh doesn't fray, or if it does, it is very little. So I absolutely love that store. I spend way too much money there, but I guess we all have to have some kind of hobby. So I did make a little center loop for the middle, and then it added 2 additional tails. And here I am just tightening that chenille stem as tight as possible, and then I'll add it to the top left of the sign. Want to make sure that you don't tie the bow down too tight, because it'll sink into the wreath and it won't look good. And then you also want to try to make sure that you don't cover up the sign. So that's one of the reasons I just did short tails versus any long tails. There is a little gap right there to the right of my hand, which is the bottom left of the wreath, and I will be making another bow to go there. So this wreath actually will have 2 bows on it. And I just go back through and dovetail my ribbons. And I don't dovetail the 1.5 inch, I just actually cut all of those at an angle. But you can dovetail those if you want. The majority of the time I don't. Majority of the time I do just cut them at an angle. But I love these colors, and I think this turned out so beautiful. Again, thank you all for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you guys have a very blessed day.